confirmation, but it's not like a high scale mover. We will say, okay, let's take it to Den Bosch, have another look, maybe even to the performance test, because we really like the genetics. And then in the first round viewing it starts. We see a lot of stallions. We changed it a bit over COVID. It used to be hard ground in the morning and then free movement in the afternoon. And then with COVID we changed it a bit. So now we got two groups, hard ground in the morning and free movement. And then in the afternoon we do the same. And it's a first selection. So the stallions that are really incorrect or confirmation, you're like, okay, we don't need them for a stallion. They go out, and it's the same with the movement. In the end, you want to keep a big enough group to go to the Den Bosch, because it's really nice to see all the horses there together. If it's a really good mover, an exceptional horse, but there's a problem with the foundation, we can take it to Den Bosch, and I will call the owner and I will tell him, okay, you can show your horse off because it's a pretty one in moving, but we have a problem with it for a selected stallion, so no matter what happens, it will go out in Den Bosch. But they know it up front. But they can use the podium to show off and maybe sell it. Okay, can get a new one.
Maybe.
Now it's sleeping?
Yeah.
Okay. Wake it up. And then we go to Den Bosch. Between Den Bosch, okay, I will tell a little bit later about it. There's a lot of work for us again, because then we will have another look at the pedigrees. We will come together again with the stallion committee just before Den Bosch starts, to have a look again, and then with all the information we've got. So the confirmation of the horse, the movement and the pedigree, and we categorize them again. And we already put some little stars at some stallions that you want to keep in view that might be a premium stallion. Because in the end, in Den Bosch, it goes really, really fast, and there's not that much to decide or to discuss. So you have to have your homework done before the show starts. Okay, we started off always with the jumpers. First on Wednesday. Wednesday is really just a breeding day. Free jumping, some studio interviews and some awards, but in Wednesday it's not the longest day, but it's mostly the free jumping, and you can see a lot of horses there. We don't do them again on the hard ground. German studbooks do it, but we have the information. If there's a question, or if it's like we have a slight problem with the feet, or we're wondering about some stuff, our colleagues can go into the stable up front and have another look when it's calm and quiet, and they will give the information for us. But we don't see them on the hard ground again. So they will jump for the second time. Okay, on Thursday. Then you got the rest of the stallions for the free jumping. And also the stallions that are invited for the premium will come back to get the talk about them. This year we changed it a bit with the jumpers. They got like the total result in the walking ring. Normally they came back as they were selected for the performance test, and then people would hear if they got a premium stallion. But in the end, it's not really the nicest view to see all the jumpers trotting in hand back under the saddle that were approved the year before. And it's for us always fun, and sometimes a bit you're nervous about it, how they developed and how they will show them off, because the points have been given recently, and you're hoping that they will live up to it and show off what they did in the performance test. But it's really nice to see for the breeders all those young stallions together and get a lot of information about that before the breeding season starts. It's the same with the stallion competition. Again, the older stallions back for the finals under the saddle, a lot of information. And this year the select sale was back live, so that took some time as well. Yeah. Friday, dressage day. It's my day, so I can always have 2 days of fun and get a bit of known again with all the surroundings, and then the work starts. Second round viewing of the dressage stallions. Okay, we ask them back if they're selected for the ring, and then have them trot in hand again once. It gives a lot of information in the end for a dressage horse, and it's nice to see him in the group. And sometimes then even you decide, okay, is it going to be a premium stallion or not? How does it show itself? And how is the overall view? Also, we had the presentation of the stallions approved in 23. The Stallion competition, we changed it a bit. Normally they all did a dressage test, but we decided, especially for the 4-year-olds, there's a lot of pressure on getting a good test, on showing them off well. There's a huge audience watching. And we said, okay, we just want them to have a nice experience. It's a huge environment for your young horses. So take off the pressure of a good test. Therefore, they're allowed to make a mistake, it doesn't matter. And just have a nice presentation and make sure that over the 3 pre-selections that we had, you have the final winner already. And then just make a nice presentation. If it's a bit scared, okay, pet it once, let it walk, lengthen the reins a bit and show off nice riding. Because in the end, we need to watch that more and more. The predicate stallions, we had 3, Desperado, Everdale, and finally Crexé. So that was really nice. Dressage Horse of the Year, Glamourdale. A nice show, I think, with the World Greatest, where all the older stallions, a lot of them came back. And we had Offspring, and of course the farewell of Dream Boy. It's always nice if the stallions that did so good in the sport and in breeding will come back and have a final presentation there. On Saturday. Okay, again, a lot of horses. We had a bit more this year, so it took a bit more time as well. And we had the premium stallions presented there. A couple of horses that are going up to Grand Prix. So it's again nice for the breeders to see the horses that are like in between stallion competition age and in between Grand Prix. They don't see them that often on competition, so it's good to present them there. The select sale was back. I think we had a good select sale. Okay, it's not comparable to the prices in Germany, but I think it's really realistic, and we had a couple of nice stallions in there. And this year we had a bit of different program with the Gelders horses after the dressage, and had a full evening for the harnessed horses, so that really had their own stage. Okay, the viewed stallions over the years. If we look, we see that the number is going down and down and down a bit. For us, it's not really, well, we don't wonder about that, because in the end, people are selecting more and more themselves at home. And we have more ways now of coming under the saddle if they're a bit older. So it's a natural process that the stallions that we get as a 2.5-year-old is slightly going down. And on the other side, we see the number of stallions we get as a 3, 4, or 5-year-old slightly going up. But it will never be in balance, adding up to the same amount, because the selection that is made under the saddle always will bring less stallions than when you start with a free movement, because you don't know then yet if it's going to be good under the saddle. The difference between the jumpers and the dressage horses is always a bit like that. Most of the times we have a bit more dressage stallions than jumpers. It has been like that for years. Yeah. From the first round to the second round, we had 90 jumper stallions. That's 57%, it's a bit more than the year before. And 100 dressage stallions, 41% of all the stallions that were the first viewing. It's a bit more as the year before as well. It's always nice if you can take a big group with you, but you have to make sure that it's good enough to go there. Okay, between the first and the second round of the stallion selection, we go and gather a lot of information. All the foreign registered mares that are not in our database, we contact the other societies to get information on the dam lines. And we go and have a look at all the mares that are not being graded in our system with a predicate. Okay, if she had 70 on confirmation and like 65 on movement, it's okay, because we know the confirmation was good enough. But the other ones, we go and have a look, just to make sure, with our own eyes again, how the situation is at that moment. Is it something that's really blocking the stallion to be selected? Or is it a mare that was just a little bit, well, I don't know, underdeveloped maybe when she was at the mare show, and did she grow into it? And make a new report. And it's the same with the mares that are abroad. Okay, when they're in the States or Denmark, we don't go there yet. But normally we make a round through Belgium and through Germany to get the information. And the biggest thing we look at is, are the hoofs Are they the same? Are they equal? Is there no defect on like the foundation? And how is the top line? And in the end, is the movement equal enough? If we look at the predicates of the mothers of the stallions that we got selected, okay, we have to take in consideration that the foreign mares are not in there because we can't give them a predicate like we've got. And we compare it to the years before that. Okay, sometimes there's a little difference, but in the end, we always have a lot of mares with predicate. Talking for the dressage, we had a bit less preferente and prestatie mares. But this year we had a lot of young mares. And in the end, those predicates take some time because you need to have offspring old enough to gain the points to make sure that you will get it. So again, that's all the information we have on paper, and you weigh it in and you say, okay, it's a young mare, we can't expect her to have that one yet. Another thing, the level of sport. And if you see this overview, you can see right away the difference between the jumpers and the dressage. They're a couple of years ahead with having sport in the dam line, and especially with having mums that were in the sport themselves. They were faster with the ET and with the ICSI, so it will take the dressage people a bit more time to go there. And in the end, I always say if a dressage rider goes to a competition and brings 3 horses, they're really busy. If a jumper does that, he's like, oh, I have a lazy day. So there are more horses going on competition with jumping as well, so you will get more results. Stallions with several sons selected. For us, especially with the young stallions, it's always nice if you have a couple more, because you can really compare it and see what will happen during the selection process. If it's a stallion that we already have more offspring of and approve more offspring, you always think it needs to add something. So it has to be better than the ones that you have. But in the end, the biggest decision is taken under the saddle. So if it's good enough, and we have a couple of them, don't be afraid to take it to the performance test, because there you will see if it's better and good enough. The young stallions, the ones with the first crop, Henk put some foreign stallions on there as well. I didn't do that for the dressage horses. In the end, there were some young stallions there from others, the books that have a stallion selected. It's always nice if you have them from the young stallions because it's new information and you can see how they will develop under the saddle and how the quality is then. One really worth mentioning is Monte Carlo. I think he had 7 stallions, 7 colts in that year. That was the first year of breeding. He had 3 at the first viewing. We took 3 to Den Bosch and we took 2. So in the end, that's a really nice result, and we're looking forward how they will develop under the saddle. The premium stallions for the jumpers, they always ask what makes a premium stallion. In the end, it's the total package. You want the good conformation, you want the good pedigree, and you want 2 times good free jumping or 2 times good free movement. But it's never the perfect one. I haven't found the perfect one yet. If you find it once, call me and show it to me, but there's always something that you wish for, or in a pedigree, or with moving, or with the conformation, but in the end, it has to stand out on a certain point, so you want to put it on a higher level, on a higher podium, and show it off to the breeders. We will talk about all the premium stallions a bit later with the videos. With the dressage, we had 5, and there's not, people always say, is there a number you have to do? No. It's really the stallion committee that decides how many there are. So it's not like we have to do 3 or we have to do 8. It's really up to them to make decisions on that. We don't do it for the jumpers, but for the dressage, we have a look at it. We have to, because we have to make sure that we keep a wide population. If it's a good horse and it's really high, it's not a huge blockage. Because in the end, you want a good horse and it's for the breeders to decide. But if it's low or very low and the horse is good enough, it can help him. In the end, it has to be good enough. You don't only select it because of different or new blood, but it can help a bit to push it over the last line and make sure that it will get in. Now we will have the stallions otherwise. We're really late. And with the jumpers, I've got the text there because otherwise.
Sorry guys, gonna have to bear with me here.
Yeah, but you're doing really good.
Okay, tell me when you're ready.
You can hit it.
Okay.
Okay, it's the funniest thing is that if breeders will talk about, we'll talk about the stallions, now they would say, oh yeah, what do you think of always remember Jack? And until they're approved, we would say the Agonics out of the For Pleasure. I don't do nothing with names. So for us, it's really talking about the breeding. The dad, Agonics de Seigneur, 160 with Jos Lansing, really good in breeding as well. The mother of this one is Durley Chin, Grand Prix level as well, with Eric Lamasse. Yeah, you can see it with the jumpers, sometimes you really have amazing pedigrees. Her father For Pleasure, twice gold, Olympic Games. So also really a lot of sport genes. Durley Chin already gave 4 Grand Prix level jumpers. One of them is Killer Queen from Daniel Deuser. The grandmother Whaley Chin de Muus and the great-grandmother Curly Chin, both were at Grand Prix level as well. So then in the dam line, it's crazy how many jumper genes you have and how many results there are. Thanks this, the stallion, I'm going in Dutch again. The stallion is well developed, a good length in his body, bit classical when it's standing in front of you, and when it starts moving and jumping, it will get prettier, and that's good because you want it to be pretty when it's in the work. Good shoulder and withers, and really correct in the foundation. An active canter with a good balance, good in the changing. And when he jumps, he has a lot of overview. He really has a good use of the body and good techniques in his leg. And what's really good with this one was that it was really even, really equal. Every time he jumped, it was the same. So it wasn't like he was getting better or was getting worse. He was really stable in his presentation. And he had a lot of scope. And then we have the Carbis set out of the Diamant de Sémilly. A stallion, the father as well, a 160 level with Christian Aalman, mother and grandmother of Carbis, of the father of this stallion, were at 160 as well. So on the father's side in the dam line, even the mares competed at the highest level. His mother is Shakira de Keizer. The Kreisker, she was 145 level, and she's a full sister of the Grand Prix stallion Quickly de Kreisker. It's also a son of Diamant de Sémilly then. His grandmother is a daughter of the thoroughbred Laudanum, and she's the grandma of Dubai de Cèdre, that won the Grand Prix of Amsterdam in 24 and was 3rd on the European Championships in Milan with Julien Epillard. So again, there are a lot of sport genes in the pedigree. The stallion's also well developed, a really good forehand, strong in the top line, good connections in the body. The canter is enough of ground cover, and it's really good in the changes. When he jumps, he starts really natural, a lot of overview, good mindset, and good technique in the front leg, a lot of use of the body, and he has a lot of athletic scope.
Is there ever going to be a possibility that there's a closed caption under those discussions when we watch this online, just on the internet, so that we can understand what the judges are saying when they
Yeah, we're having a little bit of a discussion. In the end, we would really like it to be in English as well. So the things that the committee is saying, that it's translated right away, so everybody can hear it. I don't think we can translate everything, like every presentation that's given, but I think the comments on the stallions, it's important. There were a lot of German breeders as well, and they texted me, they said, oh, it was a really good stallion show, but we didn't get anything about the comments. And in the end, yeah, that's really, that's not nice, because it's a lot of information they get. I was in Denmark last week for the stallion selection, and I sat there and I thought, I got no clue what you're saying, now I get it. Yeah. So we're thinking about how to do that. Yeah. Okay, the next one. Landino VDL out of a Sirocco Blue VDL. Nice Van der Lageweg pedigree. Landino is at 135 level at the moment with Alex Gill. He's from Staccato Gold out of a well-known Holsteiner dam line. 474A. It's the dam line from Verdi, Calato, Balabou and Fingino. He is selected for the performance test, Landino, but he didn't do the performance test yet. And he was approved at the NAPS with high points. The mother, she was as a 3-year-old on the National Mare Show. She's a daughter of the preferent Sirocco Blue, and it's from the Usina dam line. Stal Roelofs had a lot of really good horses from that. One of them is the preferent stallion Namelis. He's a really youthful stallion, a lot of blood, good length in his body, correct in the foundation, really light-footed when he canters, quick in his reflexes, really good front and hind leg technique, and he's really good in having a little bit athletic scope on the white oxer again. And in the end, it's you don't want them all to be the same. You want them to have different qualities, because the mares have different qualities as well. One 16, the Matthias out of the Gidam. What's really nice to tell is that this one is bred by the daughters from Reini Theus. They got the mare from their grandpa, and they, I think they were the youngest girls there, the breeders, to breed a selected stallion. So in the end, if you get a present like that for your grandpa, you can have a really good start in horse breeding. I started with less, I think. It's from the first crop of Matthias. Matthias is the son of the Grand Prix Hanks Comme Il Faut, Katoki, Berlin, Tampa, Corland, Indoctro, Nibidor. Thank you, Hank, for the whole pedigree. Matthias was approved in the performance test with high points, and he's now owned by Jur Vrieling, and they recently started showing on competition. Mother, Annalita C. She's a daughter of the preferent Quidam, de Revelson Quidam. She did a really good IBOB with a 9 for technique, scope, and talent, and she had a total of 87 points. And she gave a 145 jumper and a Grand Prix horse. A lot of sport in the mother line. The hengst is really appealing to see. Big enough, good forehand, and it's really a stallion expression, and he's happy as well, having fun. A bit naughty. Really correct again in the foundation, and he had a nice active throb. They don't really, in my opinion, they don't really look a lot at that, but I still like it if they're good in trotting. And I can imagine if you're a jumper, it's nice if you ride your horse every day to get a nice trot as well, and a comfortable trot. The canter is active with a lot of balance. It's quick in the jump with a lot of reflex, really good front leg technique. He twists a little bit in the hind, and sometimes he's a bit hurried, so that it's not always top on the jump. but it's got a lot of scope. So in the end you see not perfect, but a lot of nice things to like. $132, O'Neill van het Eigelo out of numero uno. I don't know a lot about breeding or jumpers, but I see a lot of numero uno. Father O'Neill, he was a 3-year-old champion at the BWP. He's a son of the world champion Figueroa Azul, and he's from a Dutch dam line. O'Neill himself at the moment is active successfully 155 level under the name Minuteman with Willem Greven. So that's sometimes difficult when they change the names. And on the pedigree, we don't change the names once it gets K-fulls. So then the name is forever the same. And if they change the name in the sport, we always have to make sure that we make it in our mind to remember that it's the stallion. The mom is a daughter of the Preferente Hengst numero uno. And it's a dam line with a lot of sport, like the Grand Prix jump horses Nanta and Mianta. And she already gave a 150 and a 130 horse. He's really huge, 176, long lines, really good long neck, good withers, and an athletic body. For a horse his size, he still has a lot of blood and athletic body. Canter with a really good balance and a lot of suppleness. For a huge horse like he is, he's still really quick in the jump, good upwards, and in the air he's really fast in going and shifting forward again. A lot of athletic scope. And then we got the last jumper. A United Touch out of Dakar VDL. United Touch, really successful now with Richard Vogel. It's amazing how they go sometimes and how fast they are. He's bred with a lot of inbreed. United Touch, his grandmother, Cantate Touch, Grand Prix with Ben Schreuder, is double in the pedigree through the father and the mother line. She's a daughter of the Olympic champion Classic Touch. His mother was as a 3-year-old at the National Mare Championship, and she jumped with good reflexes and a lot of use of the body. His great-grandmother, O'Sally, was at Grand Prix level with Willem Greven, and it's a really youthful stallion, a lot of blood and expression. He trots and canters, light-footed and good in the changes. He's really good in shifting forward with his body, athletic, really careful, and a lot of athletic scope, and they almost see it as a thoroughbred. So it really has a lot of blood. Rockstar Millionaire. I think the dressage people are really good in getting fancy names like that. A son of Davy, who's currently doing a Grand Prix with Lisa Muller. Also was world champion at the Young Horse Championships as a 6 and a 7-year-old. Out of a really nice dam line. And I'm not saying that because Ralph breeds with that dam line, but it's a really nice dam line. The mother, Santana, was at set light level. It's like 4th level. You have a little tempi in it and a little pirouette. She did that herself. She's by Sandro hit. And she already gave a Prix St. George horse by Johnson. That's one of the horses that wasn't in the catalog, and we found like 2 days before. It's active in Denmark with Daniel Bachman Andersen, and a Fürstebal offspring in Vito. That's at, I think, level 4 as well, a little bit higher than what the mum did. It's the dam line from Santano, the approved stallion, but also Sintano van Hof Olympia from Garrett Hughes, and yeah, Bloms Catino, which is active here, and Blom's hot male that's doing into 1. It's a long-legged stallion with a lot of expression, long-legged, luxurious one, really good forehand, front. It's correct in the foundation. It was really nice to see on the hard ground when it goes into trot and you see it from behind. You really see him go down a bit in the end and lift up in the withers. So he starts in the way you want a dressage horse to start. It was really light-footed. In Den Bosch it was a bit tensed, and then you take the whole presentation with you. So also the presentations from Ermelo to take the decision. But a horse with a lot of mechanic in the movement and good power in the canter. And this one is but it's low in kinship as well, 1.6. So it's for us a bit different blood. And then we got the Glamourdale. This is not the good one.
It's not right.
No, they did the wrong one.
Yeah, it's the wrong one.
Yeah, we didn't make this one a premium.
No.
I trusted my colleagues. I didn't have a check. No, you won't have it.
Tell us why. He's not.
Why he's not?
We don't have time for that. Sorry.
I don't have time for that in the end. But okay, I will just wait with this one. I will tell a little bit about the Glamourdale Cum Laude. We really liked that horse from the first time. It was a horse with a really appealing appearance, really a stallion, maybe a little bit soft or weak in the top line, but when he starts moving you can see that he uses it in a really good way, and he's got a lot of swing through his body. Really nice closed in the trot, and hind leg that goes under the body and really takes over the weight. And it's the same in the canter, a lot of balance, really good in the changes. The only thing you could wish for is a little bit more looseness in the walk. So it would really have the overtrack, but in the end, to judge those dressage horses there on the walk is really, really difficult. You have to have them in the performance test a couple of days, so they're more relaxed and they're used to the environment, and then you can see the walk. Okay, now we'll do this one. And this was really one I already put a little star with it at the first viewing. So then he was impressive, and we thought maybe if he's the same in Den Bosch again, we can make it a premium. In the end, there's not a lot of sport in the dam line, but the mom did a really good e-bob herself and still is a young one. The Jameson, out of the easy game. Jameson, impressive as a young horse, now active small tour level. Marieke van der Putten, easy game. He did small tour level himself and brought like Hermes. His mom from this stallion was active at Zet het Zwaar level, 4th level with changes every 4 strides. She's still really a young mare. He's her oldest offspring, so there's nothing more to expect from her. The grandmom is the daughter from Donnehal, and she's also the grandmother from Bordeaux. We all know him from the International Dressage Ring with Isabel Vreese, but also a stallion that's bringing more and more dressage offsprings. A stallion that's a well-developed one, 173, a strong body, good connections in the body, really good front, a lot of mechanics, really uphill when he starts moving. The canter was in the first round viewing a little bit tight in the body, but it was way better in Den Bosch. And it was really nice to see when they held him in hand and they trotted him, that he did even more than during the free movement.
Do you think you'll ever see multiple excellent offspring from transfers, like the same mare may have several.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not a guarantee that if one is good, the other one will be as well. Yeah. You have nurture and nature. And it's never always the same. It's with clones as well. The Lantanas out of the Negro. Last year we had a really nice collection of Lantanas, and we had the same this year. Really strong in type and in movement. It's a bit a question how they will go under the saddle, because we haven't really had one yet in the performance test. So we're looking forward to get them under the saddle and to see how the rideability is and how the balance and the movement is under the saddle. Lantanas hasn't been at sport yet. He showed himself in Den Bosch, but he's not being competed yet. Then we have the mother. It's a daughter from Negro. Yeah, we know him of course as a big producer of dressage horses. The Pharaoh son with a lot of power from the hind leg every time. The grandmother is the mother of the Grand Prix horse, the Angelo. And she gave 2 small tour horses as well. In the end, it's the dam line from just Wimpel and Ototo from the Wimpel as well. So it goes back to that line. It's a long line stallion, really correct in the foundation. Nice, equal in the body. And when it moves, I don't know, maybe Liz knows the English word trit. There's no English word for it, but it goes the same every time.
Rhythm?
It's like a machine, in a good way.
A clean rhythm?
Yeah, for sure, clear rhythm, but also like bending in the joints and thinking, okay, I can make this trot go big and I can make it come back and it will keep on moving from the hind leg. And you can see it here. Every time he goes, the hind leg goes under and he's still almost marching. And you can see he's really easy in going back and going forward again and keeping the balance and the posture. And the way he moves, it looks like you could just get on, make the reins in the correct length and just go. But hopefully we will see it this spring or in the fall. If you look from this side, it looks really funny. It's a really different shape of the body. Roma USB. It's always nice if you can see in the name who are the owners. It's a good brand name. Some from Vaderland. Vaderland we had in the stallion selection as well. There are different ways to get to the approval. Vaderland came as a 7-year-old. He was at small tour level really good with Dinya, and Eugène said, okay, I would like to get him approved. So he came to the first round viewing. When they're correct enough, then they get invited for the stallion, for the second round viewing, and you have a look at some offspring. We already had 3 at the first round. We took 2 of them to Den Bosch, and both got selected, and this one we made a premium. The dam line is not the biggest dam line. If you say you got something to wish for with this stallion, you wished a bit more in the dam line, it's good enough. But it's not the really shiny one you have with some other stallions. But it's a really nice stallion in type. Really good withers and shoulder. Good connections in the body. Really good appearance. And if he trots, he's really elegant. Uphill, a lot of mechanic. In Ermelo, he was a little bit tensed and he really liked to show off his trot. And the canter was a bit more difficult. But in Den Bosch, he showed a good canter as well. And he's really easy in the trot, goes forward, comes back. The walk is active. It could have a bit more over track, but it's always clear. And then we get to the part again that we say, okay, we will have a look at that walk under the saddle and see how it develops.
What do you think about paddling?
About what?
What we call paddling, where the front legs go.
You have to have a look when they are old enough, and especially under the saddle, you have to have a look when the balance is good. We had, last year we had a stallion on the hard ground at the first round, and it trotted in hand, and I said, whoa, what is this? It was so extreme. It was not normal. I wrote down 45 points confirmation, no chance to go on. And then they go to get the height measured, and the colleague there always lets them walk and trot once again, because it's quiet there, they're relaxed, and you can have a better look. And he came in the talk we always have afterwards, and he said, oh, it's correct enough. I said, what? It's correct enough. I said, you have the wrong one. No, it's correct enough. So I said to the committee, come on, to the stable. And we had a look. Correct enough. But in the end, he was so tensed that he would tighten up his shoulders and the legs just went. It was like a mannequin in Milan going down the catwalk. I call it a catwalk. They really crossed like that. And then we had it under the saddle, and it was one of the best ones of the fall. And it wasn't the Jameson. No, it was the Chiento Desperado. But so you can see that an image like that can change really fast. And for sure, especially you can see it really good in the walk, it has to be correct enough. But if they're loose in the shoulders or still narrow in the chest, it can move a bit. But in the end, have a look under the saddle. And we will see Monday, I will be at Schiphol at 6. And then at 10:30, we will see the stallions again. The 4-year-olds are presented then under the saddle. And they always say, why is the committee in the corner? Sometimes we go in the middle, but a lot of times we're in the corner because you got the long side and you can see him coming towards you and going away. And when we see a lot of paddling then, we tell it to the owner. And we say it has to get better when the horse is relaxed or gains more balance, because now it's too much. We don't approve him there, we select him. And that's a big difference with Germany. So if the paddling is there under the saddle and it's too much, we don't approve it. But again, if it's like getting tense on other things, sometimes you have to compromise a bit. But then we write it down, make it clear to the breeders, and they can decide.
I see a lot of them. I see a lot of them on the FEI level.
Yeah.
Not Dutch horses, in German.
Yeah, really a lot. No, but they are a lot. But you know what the difficulty is? If you have a lot of movement in the front leg, it moves. And it moves in every direction. If you want to have a stiff one with no front leg, it will be straight. But we don't like that as well. So it's always finding the balance. And I think it's, okay, the farrier was here yesterday. For me, it's really important that it's even on his foot. So it won't land on like the outside or in the inside, because they get like this peak pressure on it. So make it straight on his foot, and if it goes out a bit, then it goes out. I'd rather have it a bit toed out than toed in. Oh, we got a Gelder one, otherwise Luke will get angry with me. Yeah. Really good in the Gelder type. A lot of appearance. It was the most complete one on pedigree. A lot of sport for the Gelder dam line. Conformation was good, movement, but it also did a nice performance with the free jumping that they still do at the first round viewing. When he was a foal, he was third on the day of the Gelders Paard, and he was allowed to go to the National Mare Show. And he had a lot of suppleness already then. He's a son from the Gelder stallion Cardino, and he's the first offspring of the mare Jamila. She was in sport herself. The grootmoeder of the grandmother, she's a daughter from the Gelderse hengst Elegant. She gave several offspring that were really successful at the keuringen. And she gave in combination with Lord Lauderdale, 4th level daughter, and I think it's a 3rd level son. He's really functional in the moving, with a good use of the body, suppleness. And I think it's worth mentioning, and it's not because he's here, but I think, Scott, you were the most all-round stallion owner there. With a Gelders one, a Dressage one, and a jumper. Gert-Jan tried. Gert-Jan van Os tried because he had a lot of Dressage, even premium stallions, and he had a harness one that got selected. But you got 3, so I think congratulations. It's really nice to see you put in all that effort and showing the stallions in the Netherlands and hopefully getting them approved and bringing them back to the States. It's not done now. I mentioned it slightly before, but this is like a shifting in all the stallions. The most important part is still coming, and that's the performance test. And I have huge discussions with all the breeders every year, because next week when I'm sitting there at the kitchen table drinking coffee, they will tell me which one will I use this year. And I say, none of them. They're not on the menu yet. They have to do a performance test. Yeah, but I want to be the first and then I can sell my foal, and it's always good when it's the first. But honestly, the second offspring year of a stallion, 99 times out of 100 is better. Because people seen more, know more, took a bit time, looked at their mare, instead of running after the one that impressed at the stallion show. So wait, and think about all those stallions that proved themselves in the arena and with their offspring. In the dressage, we forget them. With the jumpers, they have too much focus, and we forget them. So don't run after them yet. First, let them work. Do you have any questions?
If a horse goes through the second round, but you have already nixed it because of conformational fault, but you let them go on through, and that horse then goes into another registry and is approved, how do we get access to those health?
You don't.
Okay.
No, honestly, that's the verantwoordelijkheid. Responsibility of that registry. If you see what choices they make on correctness of the foundation or on blood, we had one stallion that went out because it was really high inbred, and for us the percentage was too high, and it's going now somewhere else. But in the end, the breeders have to think about that. Vaderland is high as well, lower than the other one, but high as well. But then you see offspring and you know what he's producing, and you can take a little gamble. But with a 3-year-old, you've got some things. And it's the same with ones we don't find good enough for whatever reason. If they go somewhere else, it's the responsibility of that registry.
Okay, because that even happens after they've gone.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I really, honestly, we see it a lot in the Netherlands with German stallions, and probably Jens knows that. They will see it with Dutch stallions. Breeders use stallions without ever seeing them, without getting right information. I have breeders using German stallions and I say, do you know that it didn't do a test yet? Oh, no, but it's approved. I said, yeah, free movement and in hand. It never did a test. And then I have to tell them it's register B because it didn't complete a test and they're angry, but they didn't do their homework. In the end, you have to be smart. You can find everything. And otherwise call me or call Jens or whatever and we can find it for you. Get the right information. And nowadays with all the internet and Clip My Horse, you can see so much. And have a look at our performance tests or at the sport tests that are in Germany, and you can make up your own mind and get the right information.